indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move into our consensus agenda.
So I move we approve the vouchers that were written last month in the amount of $373,196.95, plus the payroll amounts that went out of $329,743.60, for a grand expenditure last month of $702,940.55, plus the minutes from our last board meeting. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to patrons' comments. Do we have any patrons' comments this evening? No? None online?
Anybody wants to say anything?
No? Nothing?
There's another chance later.
Yeah, there's another chance later, so if you think of ideas, let us know. Okay? We will move on to the public hearing for the bus replacement capital projects and 2021 budget. Perfect timing, Tom.
So this being a public hearing, 2021 bus replacement, we are going to be replacing 2 buses as is our on our planned purchase. So those are 2 big buses this year. Capital projects plan in 2021 budget was in your packet. If there's any questions that you have on that, we'll be more than happy to hear that, and or if you guys have any questions about that, we can do that. So this is the public hearing. We have to, before we approve all of those budgets, we have to bring that to the public.
Any discussion?
Any questions?
Questions? If not, we'll close the public hearing and move on.
Okay.
On to personnel.
All right, so there's a couple confusing items here, but we'll work through this. So for the sake of our guests, we're going to go ahead and kind of go through these with a little bit of explanation, and you guys can ask any questions that you have as we go, but I'll try to give an explanation as we go. Okay, so I'm going to recommend the approval of the resignation of Josh Moore as freshman basketball coach. I will tell you that he is interested in coaching. He is just not going to do that level because of work, but likely going to be doing another level, so that will come in October.
Okay.
So.
I so move.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of the resignation of Dakota Cook, our ag teacher. We are in the process of interviewing. Along with that, I would ask also let's go ahead and approve that first.
So move. Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
On that note, due to the fact that we are interviewing individuals, I would ask the permission to offer the ag position when we have a qualified candidate. That would allow us to write a letter of intent to employ, which would also allow them to, if needed, resign from their current position so they could take our position. We would hire retroactively. So in October, we would hire retroactively to the September 13th board meeting. That really wouldn't necessarily do a lot other than the fact is the date of hire. So I would just ask permission for that. I don't know that necessarily needs a vote.
Make a motion that we grant you permission.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll second the permission thing.
Okay, it's been given permission by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion? All right, you've got your permission.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Recommend the the resignation of Chelsea Headington, part-time elementary cafeteria. And the next one, I recommend the approval of Amber Kraft, elementary cafeteria worker. So that is for the same position. So if we could batch those together.
I so move.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, I recommend the approval of Alexa Veers as the 6th grade volleyball coach.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by, I heard Ken first. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
As you know, we approved Candace Haynes last year to be the Trojan Singer Trojan Singer sponsor. with the numbers and how that's going. She would love to have some help there. So I would recommend the approval of Sasha West as the Trojan Singers volunteer.
I move we allow Sasha West to volunteer for that.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Wes, seconded by Steve.
So that's going well. Numbers are pretty good. And
Numbers were lower than she wanted last year, but as we're coming into this year, we feel like the numbers are going to be better.
Good.
Absolutely. Plus the fact is we know Sasha has a passion for that type of thing, so it's definitely going to help to have some more people there.
All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of Brandon Stewart, varsity football coach. So he was added to the coaching staff this year, or will be soon added to the coaching staff, but has been helping out this football season.
I move we approve.
second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin.
Has he been helping all year since beginning of camp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
All right, I recommend the approval of Robin Smith, special purpose bus driver for CTE. A little bit of story behind that. Also, Julie Whitehurst as a sub-special purpose bus driver for CTE. We have students going a lot of different places this year for our career and technical ed, which will continue to be more and more of a need, just simply because of the career pathways. So having those individuals that will take our students midday and bring them back at the end of the day is super important. So I recommend the approval of those two individuals.
I move we approve.
Second.
Is that Ken?
You can have it.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of, and this is late as you will see, so as we went back in the minutes, as we went back to look at extracurricular pay, we saw that Tina Ezekiel was paid for the 2021 Science Club sponsor last year, but we did not approve that in a board meeting. So retroactively, we're going to go back and approve that so it's official. But at the same time, we would like to recommend the resignation of Tina Ezekiel for Science Club sponsor this year. So if we could do both of those, the same individual, she has been paid, but she will not be doing that this year.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by, I heard Wes first. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of Jody Vermillion for 15 sick days of maternity leave. She has a beautiful little guy that I saw the other night at the football game, doing well, gaining now. Doing well. So we're just I would request that we grant that maternity leave.
I move that we grant her the 15 sick days.
That's from the sick bank, right?
That is correct.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. All right, on to new business.
All right, I recommend the adoption of the resolution for bus replacement plan and the CPF plan. For those of you that are here, the CPF is capital projects. So those are the sidewalks, building, new ceiling tiles, those type of things that you see throughout. So that is a silo of money to allow us to continue to make progress when it comes to our buildings.
I move we adopt that resolution.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. I have a question for Tom. Do you see any slowdown in getting the buses?
I haven't heard of any.
And these buses will come,
This is 2022?
We'll probably order them in January, come in July.
Okay.
I mean, on a normal year.
Yeah.
That's what
How it works.
happens.
okay, okay. All right, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the adoption of the resolution for COVID-19 delegating authority. I want to be very, very clear on this. The fact is that I am not asking our board for me to make any decisions that they're not informed on. However, I feel like we've had some models around us of last minute board meetings, those type of things that have really created a lot of havoc within communities. And I'm simply just knowing the situation we're in, and if we would ever need to pivot to masks. We're not going to mask, guys, right now, okay? But if we would have to pivot to that, for us to wait 4 days to say we need to have a special hearing, those type of things, I just don't know that that's in the best interest of our kids or our buildings. So in the end, with consultation with our health department, with consultation with our board, obviously our administrators, I would just ask for the ability to be able to make those decisions based on our data. And I'll share a little bit of that data. I guess I can do that right now. So just so everybody's aware, we're not trying to stay silent on this issue. We're not naive enough to think that COVID isn't affecting Bourbon or Etna Green or Tippecanoe. But we understand that right now our numbers don't necessitate a change. And so just so everybody's aware, we've had 14 close contacts at the elementary school since August 23rd. We've had 23 close contacts at the high school since August 2nd. So obviously we didn't start before August 2nd, but that was coming into the year, ones that we were already aware of. We've had 6 negative tests to date. So it's not as if we're totally ignoring that and giving ill advice. We continue to meet with the health department at 4 o'clock on every Tuesday to get their feedback and thoughts. Currently, we have 1 close contact at the elementary school, and currently we have 2 close contacts at the high school. I've been very open to say I don't want to talk a lot about that because I don't want to jinx us, but it's been so far so good. So we're very, very pleased with how our parents have communicated with us, how our students have communicated with us, our staff members as well. We hope that continues. I don't want to have to put more restrictive measures in place. I can promise you that. But in the end, I also want to make sure that we all understand, and I think the board agrees, that in-person learning is a heck of a lot better than virtual learning, right? And so just allowing us the option of being together with our teachers versus trying to do that all on a screen is just, it just doesn't really even compare in my mind. So in the end, if we would have to shift, that would definitely be a tertiary step before we'd go virtual. So once again, I would bring that to the board. We'll have those conversations, but as of right now, we don't feel that our data necessitates that. So that was really the recommendation for the resolution for the COVID-19 delegate authority.
And I move we approve that resolution. Second.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of the 21-22 Clinical Services Memorandum of Understanding.
I move we approve that memorandum.
I'll second it.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I would commandeer Mr. McFarland's input on these, but I'd recommend the approval and the acceptance of the 2021 annual financial report, Triton Junior Senior High School financial report, and the Triton Elementary financial report.
Yeah, Tom, how we doing?
The finances are good. We're in the middle of an audit for corporation. We just finished up an audit for the high school and the elementary. A couple minor glitches, nothing major there. The 2021 financial reports were completed, and the instructions were to provide a copy in the business office and file a copy with the board. So
None of that, does that have to go out in the paper? We just did just our report, right?
none of these, yep.
Yeah.
We actually, that corporation does. The corporation
Yeah.
was provided in early August.
Okay.
Yep.
So I move we approve those financial reports as presented to us.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Tom.
Next item, I'd recommend the approval of the capital asset threshold to $5,000. We have been maybe in error in using that mark, $5,000. Our actual in our policy right now is...
Our policy reads 2,500.
2,500.
I would have put money on it that several years ago, we changed that to $5,000, but I went back to the board minutes and I couldn't find where we did. So this is just asset tracking. We outsource that to Deo Stone. They'll come in this fall and inventory everything that has 5,000 state maximums or minimums 5,000. So we're just going along with that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of Kids Kingdom Daycare as the latchkey provider. We are instructed as a school corporation to have a provider for kids before school and after school. It just so happened that the vendor we've used in the past is no longer doing that. And so Kids Kingdom has graciously said they would be more than happy to do that, and they have a lot of kiddos. So it's going well, but they were more than happy to assist in that endeavor.
So I move we approve that.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by
Where's Kids
Ken.
Pentecostal Church.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Wes is anxious. Motion passes 5-0.
Quiet discussion over there.
He just asked about the location.
I know.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I knew where it was. I didn't.
I recommend the approval of the bus routes and safety policy that have been reviewed. All the steps have been taken to review those, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that all of our stops are on state roads, our door side. I know that that's been a push over the last few years, and also the emergency plans have been reviewed, both the bus routes and the elementary and the high school and corporation emergency plans as well. So I recommend the approval of those.
I move that we approve those bus routes.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
So over the last few years, there's been a lot of conversations, and I've tried to grease the skids a little bit on this as far as the need to update our football bleachers when it comes to ADA compliance and just the aisleways and the availability for handicap accessibility and those type of things. And so we're taking one step further in that recommendation. So I recommend the approval of the quote for the concrete for the football bleachers, Thompson Concrete.
I move.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I know that we're talking about replacing our bleachers on the home side.
Yep.
What about the visitors?
They will be replaced as well. Yeah. We are talking, and I'll come with a recommendation when we get some quotes on this. We have had at the last couple football games individuals from the away side that also needed some handicap access. So likely with the quote coming in a lot lower than we thought it would, likely we will be adding a walkway on the away side as well, just to kind of make that uniform and just a little bit better access. But then it'll also lead to the handicap ramp that will be part of the new bleachers at the away side as well.
Okay.
Move we approve that quote.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion?
Is the Bontrager quote or in here, is that in addition to, or is that a second
That was
bid?
second quote.
And it's that much different? What,
They-
how can they be that much
They
different?
admittedly,
They told Bruce that they're swamped if you need
Oh.
a quote.
I get it, yeah. Yeah, they're happy to do the work, we're willing to pay the stupid
We
price.
don't want it, but here's the quote.
Yeah, okay.
made it kind of easy, didn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what you do, yeah, okay.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to superintendent's report.
All right, so just as we typically do, we're going to stick close to our core values. And so continuous improvement, the Triton Board of Trustees and Directors have begun providing information for in-focus fellows who are helping Triton School Corporation work on our strategic plan for the future. Initial interviews have been completed. They call this the discovery phase, just learning a little bit more about our corporation and the perspective from both our board and the directors. So that's maintenance, technology, transportation, and so on. This will be followed by 2 workshops in December and January, with the report and final strategic plan being delivered in February. So Jeremy and Megan, which all of you guys had the opportunity to meet last week, we're pleased with the first round of interviews, and we will be meeting every other week to make sure that we're staying on task and focused with the process and eventual product. So I think that's going to be a good process. I know you mentioned the questions they had were good, and it really pushed us a little, I guess, to answer those and talk a little bit more than maybe we typically would have. Shared leadership, we're going to pause a little bit. We have our counselors here today, and I think there's probably no greater example of shared leadership than the role that they're playing at the high school this year. So I'm going to actually pause, allow them to kind of share some of the great things that they're doing at the high school and or in our corporation. And so I'm going to introduce to you Ms. Sarah Arvison and Ms. Ashley Faulkner.
All right, so we're just going to inform you about some of the new programs that we're doing over at the high school. Just so you know, Ashley and I have teamed up, so the counseling, it's not 7 through 9 anymore and 10 through 12. It's more of just a shared role that we do, so kids know that they can come to either of us at any time. On September 22nd, we're doing what's called a senior audit day, and that's where basically our goal isn't just to get a diploma for the students anymore, it's to make sure that they have plans after high school. So we have colleges coming, we have employers coming, and we have military coming.
Okay, also while we are there, we are gonna be doing different booths that have these employers or the colleges or the military, and Sarah and I will be meeting with all of the seniors and going through a credit check process, as well as trying to check with them to see like what their future goals are or plans, and then we can kind of direct them then on that senior audit day to who they should go and speak to.
The cool thing about having all the local employers come is that the employers aren't just for students who are going into the workforce, but if you want internships this summer, if you want summertime employment or a place that even after school that you can come back to, that's what local employers are looking for. So it's really great. I think it's going to be an opportunity to meet the head of the workforce right now, and then hopefully get students to come back here, raise families here, and work here within our community. Just so you guys can hear some examples, we have for colleges right now coming, we have Ivy Tech, IUSB, Manchester, Grace, Bethel, PFW, Huntington, Ancilla, and Indiana Wesleyan coming. Local businesses, we're still working on some, but we have Work One, ITAMCO, Elwood Staffing, Bates, American Engineering, Hoosier Tire, Lutheran, and St. Joe Hospital are all coming. We just want kids to know the options they have. For example, even if you're interested in nursing, how many different areas of nursing can you get into in a hospital? So it's just going to be a really good time for seniors to connect with employers. Or outside the hospital. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we also have the military there as another option. So right now we have the National Guard and the Marines, and we're waiting to hear from some other places as well. Judy Delp has volunteered to come and help us sign up some students with Common App and Parchment so that the seniors are all well aware of how to use these different tools to ask for transcripts and even apply to colleges. That week we're going to be applying like crazy with them. So in the library every day we'll be in there set up so students can come apply since it's free application week as well.
Yeah, Sarah's referring to College Go Week, which is that week. So we're also planning on having audit days for 8th grade through 11th grade. So it's not just going to end with our seniors. We really want to have our 8th graders have an idea of what they want to do. Now, obviously that can change, but with the new graduation pathways, it's really important for them to get into classes early so that they have the options their junior and senior year to do internships or the CTE programs and things along those lines. We're going to partner with Ancilla to try and reach more students. They're also going to come for our FAFSA night, which is on October 4th, and they're going to present to the kids. And it's not just going to be an endorsement of Ancilla, but it's actually going to be walking them through the process of this is how you fill out the FAFSA form. It'll hopefully be pretty informative for parents and students alike. Do you want to talk about the next part?
We're really going to start making a push for the CTE courses, and not just encouraging students to really take a look at them, but we're going to actually have Mr. Hanselman come in and speak to all of the students that are in 10th grade this year. It's looking like October that will happen. And then we're going to have signups for students to actually go visit the sites so that they can actually see what each CTE program does. It's one thing to hear it, it's one thing to watch a video, it's another thing to go and actually see it. So we really want to start partnering more with the CTE programs, get our kids involved. Even if you're college bound, it's just great to get more skills added to your tool belt.
And kind of going along with that, I think our local businesses are very intrigued about us pushing that as well. When we talked to Matt Davis and Allie Shook, they were really very positive in regards to that. We're going to start our mentor program up with our senior squad members. They're going to be paired with 7th and 8th graders to really try and mentor them. Just to be good examples, good role models, help them with homework, that kind of thing if needed. And during the second semester, we're going to hopefully have our juniors or our future senior squad members picked. And then we're going to try to start a kind of an ambassador program with our 6th grade, where they go over and they mentor certain 6th graders. Our whole idea here is to try to ease that transition from 6th grade to 7th grade. So instead of it being quite as daunting for those 7th graders when they come over to us, it won't be the first time that they have stepped foot in our building. Even orientation night shouldn't be the first time that they step foot in our building. And as well, like, they would have a mentor there that would be a friendly face for them.
We have Triton Gives Back coming up on October 1st. All events have been signed up for by the junior, senior high teachers. Elementary teachers are planned as well. Every student will be receiving a Triton Gives Back t-shirt this year to wear on that day. We're also going to be hosting a tailgate that evening before the football game. Everyone who wears the Triton Gives Back shirt will be entered into the game for free, and we'll be doing a fundraiser with the tailgate for Triton Gives Back in the future. So everything's going really well with that, and we've really partnered with a lot of local businesses that are really backing us, not just in Triton Gives Back times, but even in the last few weeks, we've had a ton of those businesses reach out to us. How can we help you? So it's nice to be building relationships and connections.
We're partnering with Beacon Health and the Tobacco Coalition and the Voice of Indiana. We're trying to set up programs throughout 6th through 12th grade to help with tobacco prevention, different assemblies, working with Beacon Health for different interventions when needed. The Voice of Indiana is going to be partnering with our senior squad to become peer leaders on our campus for a tobacco-free environment. Beacon Health is actually helping with our vaping program. They provide an after-school vaping program for students that really provides intervention. Sarah and I got to actually sit in on one of those meetings the other day, and it was really fascinating how they talked and interacted with the kids. It was very nice. And last but not least on our thing is study tables. Study tables are in full swing for grades 7 through 12. This is where we are offering after-school help for our students who are either struggling in classes or have missing work. Marian Ebersol and Nancy Nordman are the ones that run this, and they have done a phenomenal job between last year and this year of creating a really good environment in that room. It's a great culture. The students, for the most part, really want to be there, and it's just been a really good thing. It's been a positive thing. We're also trying to make our SLCs a little bit more targeted to hit the needs of our students, and hopefully our students can use that time a little bit more wisely.
Students appreciative, right? So I think it's yeah, thanks, man. I think it's something we've hoped for as a board and as leadership over the years, and I just want to thank Ashley and Sarah so much for just coming together and being a true team and helping in any way we can. I love people that are solution focused, and you guys have obviously done that. Take the bull by the horns and reached out to other businesses. And I will tell you, Matt Davis has said to me multiple times that he just loves working with specifically Triton, but the smaller schools that he can do so many more things with when it comes to these opportunities. I think he's expressed the same thing to you guys as well. And just awesome things are ahead. So I'm super excited super excited. Thank you. Thank you very
From a
much.
board perspective, I want to echo the good job we see you guys doing from the outside looking in. Great job, ladies. Appreciate it very much.
Thank
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
During the 4 years of high school, do students have the opportunity to take any kind of an interest survey or an aptitude skill test or survey, personality profile, so that we can help match them up with a career path that might be a good fit for them?
Yeah, so they do that in 8th grade. Well, they're supposed to do that in 8th grade. But I think we really want to shift our focus on that, and I think we could all take a personality test or a career test and get a different career every time. I think it comes down to, we really want to take the approach of our students, we want to start meeting with them and really getting to know their interests, but then also putting them in opportunities to talk to people out in different career fields, job shadowing, going and seeing what those jobs look like, talking to someone, interviews, whatever we can do, just to expose our students a little bit more. I think we have we have this small senior class. Every single one of them at this point probably should have had some kind of interaction with somebody in the workforce by now to make sure that's what they want to do. So I think that's the approach that we're going to really take with them.
Thank you.
And I kind of echoing what Jeremy said with Matt Davis, I think being able to partner with some of those businesses will really help us out with that, because they really are very passionate about opening up their facilities for tours and things along those lines. So if we can get those kids engaged at a young age, and not there again, it's not that they have to choose for sure what they want to do as 8th graders, but if we can get them to understand that like a skill that they might learn at an internship at ITAMCO isn't something that's just going to leave once they learn it there. It can be transferred to other businesses as well. So
I think what we're also going to do is be looking at starting some mentorships with different businesses. So people, maybe some students who they don't see themselves going to college, which is totally fine, but let's get you with a mentor who can set you up for going straight into the workforce with the skills you need at that time.
I think one of our major goals is to be very intentional and relational with all of our students.
Wonderful. Thank you.
They stole my social responsibility, October 1st. Triton Gives Back Day, so that's going to be awesome. No, that's great. Accountability, I do want to report out that Melissa LaSure led data meetings with both staffs this week. Changes in adaptive assessment to NWEA and our new data platform that we've talked a little bit about, Pivot. We're excited to better pinpoint needs and begin to intentionally instruct those needs. This information will drive student learning objectives to monitor that our teachers and our administrators will monitor throughout the year. As we continue on with alignment, I would like to thank C3. It's no secret that it's been quite the trying couple weeks at Triton School Corporation. Our heart goes out to Cameron's family, and I will tell you that these young people sitting right in front of you have just done nothing but everything they possibly can to show that family love and support and care. And I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for doing that. Our students have been remarkable. Our teachers have been remarkable. Quite frankly, our community has been remarkable. Our counselors, from day one, from Saturday when we got the horrible news, people were all hands on deck to say we need to love and care for the kids in our sphere of influence. So this also provided a great opportunity for C3. We talked a little bit about that in the board meeting and just talked last month and talking about what their impact would be and just caring for our kids, for investing. I just want to thank them for investing in our scholars, especially during the last couple of weeks. Their empathy, compassion, and display of thinking of others just has been remarkable. So I want to thank them. This message goes out to our staff, coaches, parents, scholars, and community, all of whom have pitched in to support Cameron's family. Ashley Carpenter and Billy Fairchild have personally asked me to thank our board, our students, our community, our teachers for just their efforts that have gone into remembering Cameron well. So that will not soon be forgotten. The Cameron effect is in full effect, and we appreciate a life well lived. But I'm hoping, if anything good comes out of this, it's just helping us realize that we need to let each other know that we love and care for each other when we have the opportunity. And so I think our students have recognized that. I think they don't take as many things for granted, and I hope that continues. If nothing else comes of that, I hope that is one of those things.
So I'm going to read this letter that I found in our packet here. It's from the Knox Community School Corporation. It's addressed to Mr. Jeremy Riffle and the Triton School Board of Trustees. Dear Mr. Riffle and School Board, on behalf of the school, on the Board of Trustees, School Board of Trustees, I'd like to express my condolences on the recent passing of a member of your student body. We were very saddened by the news. Wishing you comfort and peace to face the days ahead. If we can be of assistance, please do not hesitate to call again. Please accept our deepest sympathy. This comes from Dr. Bill Reichert, who's the superintendent of Knox. And I think one of the things in responding to that, we've seen an outpouring not only from our community, but I was so much impressed Friday night with our rivals from the north coming in and the things that I saw them do to support us as a school corporation and students. Now I read this saying we've got people around us that are reaching out to us, and that's really nice. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of support from the schools. I would say within the first 2 days, I heard from every school corporation around just saying, let us know what you need. John Glenn, I know, had representatives on site. I was in conversation with Chris Winchell throughout the process. And unfortunately, we've had to do this before. Like, it really stinks to say that we kind of know the routine. But that being said, I couldn't be more proud of our kids and our staff, and just blessing Cameron's family has just been incredible. So to have Jordan and Kenneth officiate the funeral that our kids knew, and just to see them speak from their heart was awesome. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys so much, and want you guys to know that. So I do have one other item. So I do want to just make our board aware, and/or I've already spoken to Melissa Branham, Jake Everett, and Jordan Everett. We are. I was told this week that our town will be removing the chain link fences as you come into town. When you say it like that, they're just not maybe the awesomest, I guess, but they have some memorabilia on them that are really, really important to our community. So I don't want to make light of that. But I did reach out to them. Missy Nifong at the time received awards. Jake and Jordan have both received awards up there. It also has our state championship years on there as well. They will be taking those down for new signs. But what the town has said is they would love to make Liberty kind of the Triton way, so to speak, and make sure that those signs go up, possibly even talking about allowing our art classes to come in and do some special stuff on the streets and maybe blue and yellow lines. We'll talk about all that stuff later. But just making that a grand entrance for our students and anybody that's coming into our campus. So I did want to make sure that those did not disappear and let everybody know that we are aware that that's happening for some nicer signs, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to patrons' comments. Anyone have any questions? Now's your time to ask. Don't be shy.
Connor, ask me a question.
You want to call on one of them? I think you should call on one of them.
Connor, do you have any questions? I'll call on the ones I know. McKenna? Valerie?
We do have some kudos, right? Our volleyball team's been doing awesome, right? We have King and Queen, right? Connor's had an awesome tennis season, right? Just signed to go to Grace College, right? So a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff happening.
Awesome. No questions? No questions?
You have to have a question for extra credit.
Maybe
I'll
he
give
will.
it to you.
He'll give it to you, yeah.
Trace.
I just don't know how you guys do all this. Maybe you guys are the working hands behind all of this.
Ooh, extra credit for the young man.
I'm good. He gets 10 points of extra.
You are so full of it.
I need my seat up there.
Oh, buddy, you have an opportunity opportunity. Problem is you gotta get voted in. That's
Oh, I think I could have that.
yeah.
All right, we
Good
will
stuff.
move on to builder report.
So ever since I think day 3 that school has started, staff at the elementary have been working on giving individual and group assessments. So both NWA, which is new to us this year, which is really going to help us predict how students should be able to perform on iLearn. So that's both math and language arts. And then also Dibbles assessments, which are reading assessments, text reading and comprehension, which is comprehension for the younger kids, K through 2. And then the Scholastic Reading Inventory, which is, as many of you high school know, the Alexile assessment that for reading comprehension, and also our M-Class Math, which is our math fluency assessments in K through K and 1, I'm sorry. So all that put together, then we had our data analysis meetings this last week. I'm sorry to say, because of shortages with substitutes that we just had some emergency absences, we weren't able to do it exactly as planned, but we still were able to do it. I appreciate our subs who were so flexible in coming in and saying, yes, I'll cover for this person instead. And our teachers who, instead of having provided time and coverage, had planned for a sub to be in their classroom, and then they ended up taking their prep time and not using those plans, for a sub. So it took a lot of, flexibility and some last minute changes, especially on Mrs. LaSure's part too. So I appreciate everybody who helped with that, and we're going to continue and make up for the lost time next week. That being said, our STARS intervention groups started today. Today was the first day for those, and based on all the data that we collected, we were able to identify those students at each grade level most in need, and they will be receiving targeted small group intervention for reading specifically. I'm also happy to say that we have a lot of we don't have tons of visitors because we're not really allowing just any visitors in, but there is still a lot of teaching and learning going on. We have 2 interns from the high school. That would be one in the speech department with our speech pathologist, and another one in 2nd grade who happens to be here tonight. And then we also have 2 people taking early childhood class, and they will be working with kindergarten teachers for part of their coursework. So those are all seniors, I believe. We also have 4 GRACE students who are starting to do some of their field experiences, observing in classrooms and getting some of that experience as well. So a lot of things going on just to help hopefully get people into the education field is what we hope. Next week, we have our Scholastic Book Fair, where students will be able to visit the library during their library times and make purchases of many different kinds of fun books and gift items. Parents can visit online and make purchases, and they'll be delivered to their home. The proceeds from that really go to get more books for our library. Mr. Schaefer does a great job of making sure that we have things that will interest kids and keep them reading. The week after that, we are going to be holding our annual walkathon, and that's where students are encouraged to be fit and have some friendly competition. We will be also this year taking donations for that as students walk the tracks. We'll also be giving out incentives for those students who walk or run the most laps in their classrooms, and overall winners, and also those who bring in the most donations. So that looks to be a fun time, and we'll finish that week by participating in community service projects with Triton Gives Back. Any questions?
Okay, for the junior, senior high school, first of all, thanks to the government class for coming in. I appreciate that. It's always good to see them. Current enrollment at the junior, senior high school is 395 students. So that number is up a little bit. So we're excited about that. We actually had 2 enrollments today. So we have 2 new students as of today. We have 2 foreign exchange students with it this year, and I always enjoy having the exchange students. I think they bring a lot, just a little more diversity to a not so diverse school. and we get to learn about them just as much as they get to learn about us. So I think that's always interesting. One of those students is from Italy and the other is from Sweden. So we're excited to have them with us. As everybody knows, we have an ag teaching opening that we are currently going through the interview process. So I guess I bring that up tonight just so that everybody knows, students, anybody watching, that we are really working on finding the right person for that position. And we want to make sure that our students that are in those programs and classes and then the FFA, that they have somebody that's going to take the reins of that program and do a great job, and that we're going to get a lot of benefits. So just know that we're working really hard to make that happen as soon as we possibly can. We also have an instructional aid position that we're still looking for in our special education department, and we're looking for somebody that's going to be the right fit for that department. So if there's anybody listening that's interested and you're willing to apply, we'd love to talk to you about that opportunity. NWEA, I think Ms. Cook maybe talked about that a little bit. But that's our new benchmark testing that we're doing. So for grades 7 through 12, we are doing NWEA testing, and we're hoping that that helps us look at student growth, and it's going to help us to identify maybe where those student needs are, and we can address those needs regardless of what grade level that is. And then that moves us into our data meetings, and in the past for math and language arts, when we've sat down to take a look at data in those two areas, we've looked at it as a department level, so a larger focus, and it really made it difficult to get down to a student level. So this year we're going to try and have those conversations at the teacher level and not as a department. That way we can really look at a student's data, whether it's NWEA or teacher assessments in their classroom, whatever it might be, so that we can really start to impact student learning, instructional time, or the way we are instructing our students based on the actual data we're collecting. So that's something we'll be doing a little bit different this year. DC trip, since we have Mr. Young in the room, we had a DC trip meeting last week for people that might be interested in the DC trip this year. I know he's got some changes with the trip this year, but I'm going to bring him back to a future board meeting to speak with you guys about that opportunity. I think he's onto something, and I look forward to him talking to you guys about that opportunity in the near future. And then I'll just finish by thanking our counselors. They've done a great job, and I know we've said all these things here already, but they've been given an opportunity and they've taken it and ran with it. I just kind of step back and watch them go because they have a lot of great ideas, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. They talked about doing these senior audits, and those have always been important, and looking at, not just seniors, but all the way down, because every year that graduation process becomes more and more difficult. You don't just have one path for graduation anymore. You have multiple paths, and that makes it really, the water is really muddy, and you have to keep a really good, really good thumb on it. You got to keep track of it, and they're doing a good job of that. They have great ideas just to make sure our students are getting what they need for that diploma and beyond. And I'm just excited to see what they bring to our students. So thanks to them. That's all I've got, unless you guys have questions.
Nothing? It's last chance. No? No? All right, if not, we will call a meeting adjourned at 7:49.